I wasn't really expecting a JPEG Mafia album at this time of the year. It's the beginning of August, but you know what? I'm welcome to surprises. JPEG Mafia has just released his new album. Let me see. I Lay Down My Life For You. And honestly, I don't know what I was expecting when I was going into this album. I was expecting kind of the same thing as like Scaring the Hoes, just not with that old kind of style of music, just with like newer instruments, if you know what I mean. Because if you know anything about his previous album with Danny Brown, it was recorded on this really retro kind of style looping system for making basic drum beats and sampling, and he used that for all the tracks. So I figured it was going to kind of be like the spiritual successor to that, but no, there's a lot of weird and out there and oddly creative samples on this album that I did not expect going into it. And this is the track by track review and also my reaction. Today we're going to be reviewing, or actually actively listening to, JPEG Mafia's brand new album. Track number 1. I scream this in the mirror before I scrolling. I scream this in the mirror before I interact with anyone. Now that's a crazy name for the start of the track, and it's a crazy track to start off with. First of all, he starts off by dissing a basketball player, as you do, and then hits us with these crazy rap lyrics with these fast drums, this guitar in the background, which you don't really hear a lot in rap music, which is why JPEG Mafia's like experimental tone he's taking with this album kind of benefits from this guitar a lot. You're gonna hear a lot of guitar and like solos in this album, a lot more than you would hear with basically any other rapper. Here's the album cover. JPEG Mafia in a shiesty with Christian Cross right behind him.
If I was an NBA player, I'd be good.
My favorite part about track 1 is right at the end where it breaks down into this fucking like drum and bass, just like crazy fucking shit. You have no idea what's going on. Just pure like, it sounds like dubstep, like these Oh, that voice. Is that, I'm hearing like dubstep. That's what it sounds like. I do think this track is very great, and it's a very great start to the album. Now let's get on into track 2, which is a single off of this album, Sin Miedo. I'm assuming that's Spanish, so I said it like that. This was one of the singles before the album actually released. So I have already heard this, but we're gonna listen to it anyways. Amazing sample, probably very out there. It's one of the more out there samples, but you'll really get to see what out there is on this album, because track 4's sample is definitely the weirdest one I've ever heard from JPEG Mafia. Weirder than Garbage Pail Kids. But back to track 2. This sample kind of helps with JPEG Mafia's not necessarily like different flow. He has like a normal flow on this track, and I've already listened to this before the album came out, so I already gathered my thoughts on this track, and I think it's a very good track. It's very solid. The other single that was released for this album was actually changed for this album's release, so I'll get to that when I get to that. But no, track 2, Sin Miedo, it's very, very solid. That guitar solo at the end, like I said, there's a lot of guitar. Very, 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 very good. And I saw one of the comments on the music video. This is one of the comments on the Sin Miedo music video said, that guitar riff's racist as fuck. Dude, track 3 is I'll Be Right There. Oh my gosh, bro, that sample, it's kind of like a synthetic chime in the background that keeps on hitting over and over again, and JPEG has this kind of like slow, low-key rapping verse on top of that. A lot of noise in this track. That's a theme for the whole entire album. Very, very creative sampling too. I mean, it's not like he went into FL Studio and just like dragged notes together. He's obviously chopping up different samples and like getting drum loop sound effects and putting that in there with like, dude, I don't even think JPEG Mafia knows how to EQ music. It's just so like limited and noisy. It feels visceral, you know, like you're fucking right next to the drums. It doesn't feel like soft like pop music, where, you know, pop artists, they're like super obsessed with EQ. It's okay, you gotta get rid of the really high highs unless it's hi-hats, and if it's bass or like an 808, you gotta bring those up and close everything down on the high end or the mids. So you have the bass, that's the bass, and it's separated from everything else. JPEG Mafia will literally just be like, everything, make everything at least 24 decibels maxed out in the EQ, put fucking limiters for the hi-hats and shit. Make that shit sound crunchy as fuck. And you know what? You know what? Go on to youtube.com, search up like white noise or brown noise, download that shit, and then drag that in to the DAW to make it sound more fucking noisy. That's the type of shit that JPEG does. And honestly, it's really fucking good. Track 3, I'll Be Right There, is a very, very solid track. Track 4, It's Dark and Hell is Hot. That's a very fucking bold and an even bolder sample. I mean, just look at my reaction. Look at it.
I just wanna make it home. Got all my AirVision Pros. I killed.
It should go without saying, this is one of the more experimental tracks on this album. Basically, every single production choice made with this track is kind of out there in a way, but I think it does fit inside of the theme of the album. I know it's only been out for 5 or 6 hours, but it's safe to say that this is one of my favorite tracks. All right, track 5, New Black History, featuring Vince Staples. Now, if you didn't know already, Vince Staples already made his own album a few months ago, Dark Times. Why am I saying it as if it's his first album? Vince Staples made an album a few months ago called Dark Times, so I expected him to go crazy on this track, and he did. This is not necessarily like the worst intro to a song on this album. This is like the toughest listen, in my opinion. That beginning, like 20 seconds is just, man, I feel disoriented and confused. Like, what is the Migos? I'm pretty sure he sampled the Migos for track 5, and you just hear that classic like Migos flow, which like triplets with these like soft synths in the background. It's so out there, it's so weird. This is obviously something I'm gonna have to listen to more, you know, just to like beat that into my head that sounds good, because I know it sounds good. It's just wow. I would say track 5. It's still a very good track, but it kind of falls into the middle for me, you know, track wise on this album. And for all of you who said that I'm rushing to get this album review out, you're absolutely fucking right. Dude, I have 500. Dude, look, you see down there? No, because scroll down and you can see the amount of subscribers that I have, and you can realize just how competitive of a fucking market this is. You have no idea just how much of a struggle it is to get a video out this fast. Dude. I'm recording this July 31st. The album comes out on August 1st. I've already listened to the whole thing 3 times. Track 6, another single track, Don't Rely on Other Men. That is a true state. Do not rely on other men. The only person you could truly rely on is yourself. Don't forget that. Don't rely on other men. And the samples, like, I hear you went down, 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 down. In the music video, I don't know who that is in the music video. Bald guy. I don't understand why he's here, but he kind of, it fits the theme, I think. I don't know. I'm not going to talk about the music video more than I'm just going to talk about the music itself. Another guitar solo at the end, you know, it's kind of a theme for this album to bring in just more like rock kind of influences. There's a lot of influences, if you couldn't tell already. Since it's a single track, you guys have already definitely heard it, so I'm not going to go over it that much. Don't Rely on Other Men is very solid, and it's good. What else do you want me? It's good, you know? Jesus, man. Vulgar display of power. JPEG Mafia is just going through this track like, I bring the pain, I bring the pain. Rah, rah. Never back down, never what? Never give up. Go, 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 go. A little bit of a repetitive track for me, but that guitar in the background kind of does make up for it with the drums and the bass and stuff. JPEG Mafia, a lot of hype coming from this track. Little, not as weird samples as I kind of wanted, you know, because you go in, you're already 6 tracks in, and I'm like, okay, what is he gonna do next? And then it's just like kind of a listenable song, but you don't want listenable. You want shit that you could like put on the car and everybody's gonna like quickly get out of that shit. So honestly, not my favorite off this album because it's a good song. Ex-Military is the longest track on this album. It's also one of the most personal besides the last 2. This one has a lot of hard-hitting moments, but while also having a lot of introspective lyrics right at the end when JPEG Mafia kind of, you know, gets a little bit more introspective. I don't know what that sample is, but I need to find the original song because that, like, I don't know if it's like an organ that's playing in the background, but it's really, really catchy. These samples are very, very catchy for this album. I really do like Ex-Military. I wish I could say more about it, but, you know, it's not necessarily like the whole entire song flips upside down like with track 1. But no, track 8 is also very, very solid, as is everything else. Track 9, dude, I'm just gonna let the name like explain itself. Here's the clip of me. It's a good song. It's a very good song. Probably not as good as like track 1 or Ex-Military, but it's pretty good. Pretty good. I like it. All right, JPEG Ultra is track 10. Denzel Curry for his verse is basically dissing you the whole entire time. Or I guess dissing, you know, the listener the whole entire time, and then JPEG Mafia comes on for his own verse, where the beat does kind of develop a little bit. It doesn't necessarily switch more than more things are added on, which is a theme for Denzel Curry's song. This is a theme for JPEG Mafia songs where, you know, the song never really loops. It just keeps on getting more and more developed. Or there's more refrains and there's more bridges and there's more instruments added on each time. That's kind of the theme you get when we're going into like recent JPEG songs, you know? And there's even a track on this album called Loop It and Leave It that's kind of hinting towards, you know, that specific kind of production style. Oh yeah, I forgot. JPEG Ultra is a good song. Either On or Off the Drugs is track 11, and I really fuck with that sample. Just that nice singing in the background, it just really kind of mixes with JPEG's, you know, lyrics and stuff. It's really nice. A little bit more of a low-key track. It's one of the quicker ones off this album, but still definitely holds its own, you know? So I do like that. Track 12, Loop It and Leave It, has this amazing piano in the background, this quick arpeggiated descent, while JPEG Mafia is just talking, you know, about how all the other artists, you know, they're just making like that repetitive stuff. He's on that new shit. He's making music that keeps on developing. He's making developments. Or I guess that's the theme that I got from that. Spotify doesn't have the lyrics yet, so I'm just going with whatever I think it is. And usually what I think it is right, because I'm always right. Referencing Loop It and Leave It on track 2 of Scaring the Hoes with JPEG Mafia and Danny Brown. One of the lyrics on the track Jpeg is, I can't just loop it and leave it, which, I mean, it's obvious now. You can hear this song and realize, hey, and you'll realize, hey, he's right. So yeah, track 12, Loop It and Leave It, is very, very solid. Don't Put Anything on the Bible was a song that had a music video prior to the album's release, and this is just some crazy shit going on in the music video. But then, you know, you expect the whole entire song to just be, you know, the feature singing for the whole entire length, but then the oh yeah, it comes back in and the beat switches and JPEG Mafia is kind of rapping a little bit slower, a lot more personal than all the other tracks, and that's the same thing with the last track, I Recovered From This. Again, a very slow, not slow for JPEG Mafia standards. I mean, if you showed this to like any other rapper, they'd be like, this is our average speed or whatever. A lot of actual like meaningful lyrics come in at the last track. I think it does bring this whole entire album together. And the samples really, really nice, ringing in the back of my ear with this track. Very, very, very personal. He kind of opens up, you know, honestly, he kind of breaks the facade on the last track more than he does with any other kind of like sad like output he's had. He asks you like a lot of questions, you know. It's definitely one of the more emotional tracks, and I do really, really like this one. I think this album, I Lay My Life Down For You, is one of JPEG Mafia's most confident works and most focused works to date. I'm not sure if I think it's better than Scaring the Hoes. I think it's on par, but definitely better than like LP or Black Ben Carson, or All My Heroes Are Cornballs. Better than all that shit, easily. This is some of the best shit JPEG Mafia's ever put out. And you guys aren't really waiting for what I have to review, because I don't review albums. I just talk about them because I like talking about albums. But what do you think Fantano's gonna give this album? I think this is like one of the albums Fantano might give a 10. You know, he already gave Brat by Charlie XCX a 10, but I think this is just the right type of music for Fantano to be like, and just give that shit like a glowing. So we'll just have to see, you know. Hopefully I can get this video out before him. Dude, he's fast. Like, I get that I have to take like 2 days to like edit a video usually to like full length if I want it to be good, and usually only like a few hours or I'm really rushing it. But dude, Fantano could just stand there and just do cuts, and that's good enough. So I should probably start doing that, but I don't want to be copying him. Anyways, you guys need to subscribe, join the Discord. It's linked on my channel bio, and comment down below what your favorite track was off this album. I'm just another music critic, and JPEG Mafia, 5 ever.